As a quick introduction, again, my name is Colin Motherway. I am a solution consultant here at Infor, specialize in the CPQ solution, and I'll be doing the demonstration here for the next 10 minutes or so. So we're going to look at a lot of different products, a lot of different variety in them. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off here with a spa example. So this might be something that is B2C, where customers coming to look to renovate their backyard or their patio and want to be able to put in a spa and see what that might look like here. So as I go through the selection process, we can see that there are multiple ways to prompt the user, whoever that may be, for questions. So we can see the first one is a drop-down button. We even do have images associated with some of these selections. Just being able to add some context to what the selection might look like. If you're not an expert, if you're just a consumer, you might not understand the difference between these models here. And also to reinforce and even add further context, we can see in the right-hand side of the screen, I do have this tab labeled Visual Configuration. So what this is that 3D rendering, that live 3D rendering that's going to react to the selections that I make. So being able to get a good feel of what I'm selecting and have confidence that I am configuring the correct product that I'm going to want to end up purchasing at the end of the day. So at this point, I've just selected my model. I haven't changed any of the colors yet. Right now, I'm being prompted for the cabinet color. And right now, maybe modern hardwood is catching my eye. And when I do that, in a moment's notice, we're going to see the cabinet, the exterior of this spa update. And as I answer that question, the shell color comes into play and asking me, okay, so we've answered the cabinet color. What do we want the shell to be? And I see platinum. I think, yep, that's the one I'm going to want to take home with me. And we can see those changes being made. Want to make light, too, though, that as you write the rules for the configuration and set up the 3D rendering, you can have any part of your models change color, change physical actual components. So you can add on extra seats or change the size of the spa, a lot of different variations that we'll see as we continue on throughout the demonstration here. But just the first example here showing a couple different changes in color, those things coming here to life. And not only that, actually, but also being able to, again, see these things in your own setting. So Shelly did mention earlier about augmented reality and being able to see things in your own setting. So I can click on View in Space here. What that's going to do is open up this QR code. Now, if you're a user and you have a smartphone, so an iPhone, Samsung Galaxy, any of those smartphones, and you scan this QR code with your camera, what you'll be able to do is actually it'll open up your camera and you'll be able to see a 2-scale live drawing, or rendering, I should say, of this actual hot tub here in your own setting. So not only are you able to see a realistic change in the configuration of the spa versus color, but also actually able to see how it's going to fit in your own setting. So for direct to consumer, really advantageous there, giving them a lot of confidence that, okay, this is going to look exactly like this based off the configuration that I've done and the augmented reality. So being able to reassure the user that this is exactly, what they want when they want to take home. On top of that, too, Shelly did mention that I will be showing a transformer example a little bit later on. And what that transformer example does, along with this spa example, is it explodes. So I wanted to show this because sometimes, when you configure products, not everything is visible at the surface, right? So being able to see configurations being done that might be done under the hood. So if you make some sort of machinery, for example, like a motor, and you have things that are not exactly visible from the exterior of the product, being able to explode these products out and configure from that standpoint is highly advantageous, and it's absolutely something that the configurator can do and help you throughout your process. So at this point, I've gone through this configuration. We've seen, okay, so we did the spa there, and that was direct to consumer. Let's go ahead and look at the next example, which we'll say is the office chair. Now, in this case here, we'll say that maybe I'm a dealer here, and I have an office that they're getting renovated, and they have a bunch of different chairs that they're going to be ordering in. It's going to be in bulk, and they're all going to look the same. So, of course, I want to make sure I get it right. So when I make this bulk order here, we make sure that the dealer has the full confidence in what they are purchasing here today. So again, a little bit different than what we saw last time with how the selections are being presented. We do see some colors coordinated with the mesh. If we come down to the fabrics, we can see some radio buttons. So again, showing just another variety of how you can present these questions to whoever that user is going to be. And of course, on the right-hand side, we do have that visual configuration tab here ready to go and ready for me to configure so I can get a good idea of what I am creating here. First things first, we can see the mesh here is already in black. Maybe, we decide that the company that I'm making this order for, the primary colors are white and orange and green. So we want to make those things applicable to that company there. And we can see when I make that change from the mesh being from black to white, and I'll do that one more time just to make sure no one misses that, we can see that color change is happening there. And if I want to, I can scroll in and we can see that there's even that transparency in the mesh itself. So being able to see things in high detail and accuracy without having to see them in person, and adding, again, that confidence to the user who's making these selections to understand, okay, so when I purchase this order, this is what it's going to look like. We'll go ahead and change the fabric too at the same time. We can see the fabric is changing. If I scroll in there as well, same thing. You can see the fabric actually showing its texture there. So a high capability of detail that the engine can, the 3D engine can really display for you and your products. And lastly, I'll make a change in the frame here. So we have a full black frame, the white mesh, and the orange and green striped fabric for the seat. But at this point, we can see I have my question selected. I have that dynamic rendering, and I can really scroll in here and see, even zoom into where the stitching is. So get a really high quality rendering of the product, even without seeing it in person and knowing exactly what it's going to look like. It's going to give whoever is the user in this case a lot of confidence in what they're actually configuring. My next example here is going to be a football helmet. So coming over here, again, we're prompted with the selections, and we have the visual configuration tab for this football helmet. Now, it does have the same capabilities that we've seen before, being able to change color. It even has the ability to explode out. So being able to see maybe in some case here that, maybe this helmet is going for my quarterback. I got to make sure it's got enough cushioning for concussion protocol. So I want to make sure I can explode the whole image out and understand every single component of this football helmet. So another example of that there. I can even come in and scroll and look at the padding and get a really good detail. And we can see the lighting changes as well. So being able to have accurate lighting, there's a lot of capabilities here and a lot of power in the system for how you can use it for your specific products to be able to give the user confidence and enough context for what this product is going to look like. One thing that we haven't seen yet, though, is that we can use the model itself to direct us to the questions we want to answer. What we've done so far is focused on this side of the screen and have gone down in a row of looking at each question we want to answer, and we've seen those changes reflected in the model itself. Now, maybe we want things to go the other way. Maybe I want to be able to select a specific part of this helmet, and it brings me exactly to that question for me to answer. And that's exactly what we can do here. So we can see also another thing before I actually go ahead and do that. You're able to organize questions in tabs. So we have just the basic helmet configurations in this one tab. We have a tab for the face mask, one for the eye shield, the chin strap, so on and so forth. So you're able to organize everything and keep the selection area from being one long list and have things organized and easy to use. But also, again, being able to select whichever specific part of the model you want to configure is absolutely something that can be done. So let's say I'm okay with the color. I don't want to make any changes to the color. The thing that has my attention right now is this face mask. I don't like this face mask. I want to change what the actual face mask looks like, and then I'm going to go ahead and change the color. If I click with my mouse here over on this face mask, notice on the left-hand side of the screen, it's going to bring me to that face mask tab. I didn't select the face mask tab. It brought me there. It knew that I clicked on the face mask, and now I am already highlighted here and prompted, what style of face mask do I want to use here today? What do we want on my helmet? And when I make those changes, we can see that physical change and that physical reflection and the changing of what makes up this helmet here. So not only are we able to, one, change colors, explode out the image, get an augmented reality experience, we're also able to change the physical appearance, of course, of these models here, along with the color, which I will do at this moment, and change that to a white face mask. Now, on top of that, being able to change what physical appearances, also being able to add and take away parts is something that we can do. So at this point, I see that we have a visor. I don't want my quarterback to have a visor here. If I click on the visor, we can see again on the left-hand side of the screen, it brought me from the face mask tab to the eye shield tab, and it's asking, okay, so what type of face shield do I want? Do I want the transparent one, or do I want to take it away altogether? And that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So being able to change the physical appearance, being able to take away things and add things to our models, to our products, is absolutely something that can be done here. Now at this point, what I'm going to do is click Finish and go on to our fourth model, which again is a lot different. We're showing a lot of different variety here, and that is a shed model here. Now we'll say maybe I'm a contractor and I have a dealer login. I could be protected again. So one thing I want to make light of too is that the user for these configurations and making these selections is completely up to you. If you guys have more of a B2B model, you could have this protected by a login. If you guys have a lot of contractors that need to have logins, but doesn't necessarily need to be protected, you could have this exposed on your website. So a lot of different places where you guys could expose the configurator. It's really up to you. So we'll say again that I'm a contractor. It's asking, okay, do I want the shed size to be 10 by 10? Do I want it to be 10 by 15? I can change it out. So not only, again, being able to add parts to the model or take away parts, but also manipulate, stretch out, and change the size. But I'm going to go back and leave this at a 10 by 10. That's exactly what I think I want here today. That's what my customers described to me as I was out on site with them in their backyard, being the contractor that I am, the expert that I am. And of course, as we've seen before, being able to make changes to the trim and see this color reflected. Now, what this model does is not only can I click on different parts of this model and make changes, I can actually change the physical location. So we see this door here, and it's right here in the smack center. If I want to go ahead and change the location of it, I can click and drag, and also not only that, but set boundaries to make sure that, yes, the user has the ability to change the location where this door is going to have its cutout. However, also making sure that there's no human error, that it's not dragged off this plane and off this wall, so we have an issue there. So being able to have those rules enable flexibility, but also keep the user from making some sort of human error decision at the time of configuration. Next, similar to what we saw in the helmet model, is the ability to change color. So this time I can actually see what I have highlighted. And this right now, my cursor is currently over the roof. If I click on that roof again, similar ideas last time with the helmet, being able to see that we have a roof tab. When I click on the roof here, it's brought me over to the roof tab, and it's asking me, okay, so what color do we want here, Colin? What does the customer want? I can change this from black to brown to gray, and we can see each single, and we see some of that texture appearing as well. So again, having the ability to show some realistic, photorealistic images being rendered by the drawing or by the visual configuration tab itself to be able to help out with that experience. So we've seen the ability to drag that door. We've seen the ability to click on different parts of the product, and it's going to prompt me to those specific questions that I need to do. Next, what I want to show is the ability to add physical parts. We showed how we were able to take away the visor and the football helmet. And right now I have one window on the right-hand side wall, and I'm going to drag this over in the corner. Again, we have boundaries set to make sure that it's staying on the wall. Now, maybe for some reason you need to have more flexibility for your specific product and allow for whoever is configuring. Maybe it's someone who's who's an expert in the product, and it's not going to be consumer facing. You don't want to have these sort of boundaries set. I do have a rule here written to take this from being able to leave the wall, and so I'm going to select no. And now I'm able to drag this off, and it's still on that plane. However, there is no boundary set at that point. So again, depending on your use case and who the user is, being able to prevent users from making errors, or also being able to add flexibility for those who are really really knowledgeable in the products that you guys configure, and allowing them to have the flexibility they need inside the configurator and also the visual configuration tab. One thing I can also do too here is add an extra node. So I'm going to click on adding a window here, and it's going to say, where do you want to place this? We'll put this on the right-hand side of the wall as well. And it's placing it right next to my original window that I have here, and I can't have them overlap. And we're able to use this for spatial awareness to make sure that, okay, this wall is able to accommodate for another window. So being able to make sure that we're not overcrowding different parts of our models or different parts of our products with too many different features that maybe we simply just can't configure for the customer. Also, we saw that there is collision detection here as well. So if I'm trying to drag this and connect these two windows, it's not going to let it happen. However, if I wanted to, I could take the avoid window collision and toggle that off here on the left-hand side, and I'm able to combine these two. Now, in this case, it's not very applicable for a shed model. However, again, depending on how your product is configured, these are the sort of things that you could do. You could have different nodes attach onto each other and connect. You could also have it where you're not able to touch each other. They're not able to look as if they're attached. So again, depends on how your product is configured, but this is just one example of being able to use some of the tools that the visual configuration engine has. And you're not siloed to being only able to add windows to only one wall. You can add it to all different parts of the model. It just depends how you define them. So I just clicked and added a model or a window here to the rear part of the wall, and we're able to see that reflected. And of course, not only siloed to only one type of add-on for this product. So right now we've only added windows. If I want to add a skylight, I'm prompted for that question here. And absolutely, I do want to. We can see it's completely different physical in nature. So there is no limit to how many extra add-ons you want to add there to your product. It's certainly up to you for how you write the rules and what products can be added on to that final configuration. Lastly, what I want to show is that transformer. So Shelly mentioned that earlier. So for pieces of machinery that again have on the cover not too much going on, but when you open up and explode out those products and are able to see under the hood, you're able to see a lot more and understand and be able to make changes. That is where the advantage, again, of the exploded view comes into play here. So we see with this transformer we have, there's not too much going on. We can actually see the lighting if I move this transformer back and forth, the lighting kind of reflecting off to show a little bit of a realistic view here. So two ways I'm able to go ahead and look under the hood of this transformer. One, of course, is exploding out. We were able to see this here today a couple times already. But being able to explode out, I see the coil, I see all the different brackets, I see the mounting bushings here as well. So I could explode these out. What I could also do too is simply remove the cover if I want here. So we have something that says show cover. I can toggle that off and the cover is going to disappear. I could also take away the coil at the same time. So being able to not only explode things, but just simply toggle things on and off, we can do that as well. And we see here that I do have my small brackets. I have my long bracket right here and these mounting bushings. So what this is really nice for is if maybe I work for a power company and I'm coming out and there's a transformer that's broken, being able to look at the product physically in front of me and then come to the configurator and see exactly what is broken and just simply click on that bracket and be able to be brought to that question. So again, notice on the left-hand side of the screen, we're on the tab for spare parts. Maybe this is a service request where, okay, these brackets are broken, maybe these mountings are broken. If I click, again, similar as we did with the football helmet, on this small L bracket or the short L bracket, notice that it's going to prompt that text box to light up, and it's going to ask me to put in, okay, what quantity of these short brackets do I need? And the same goes for the long bracket here. So it's able to know, okay, now that we're on the long bracket, it has highlighted that, and it's going to prompt me again. Okay, so how many of those are broken? How many do you need? So being able to really expedite and make the service parts and be able to get those things ordered in a very simplistic fashion without having to be a product expert. As long as you can see, okay, this is the product that's broken. I see it in the model here. It looks as if it's, and this is what it needs to look like. So you go ahead and just simply actually click on the model and have that guide you to the question. So now I'm clicking on the mounting bushings and be able to use that to drive me towards the question that I need to answer without being a product expert is something that is significantly advantageous to those potentially if they're not necessarily the biggest expert when it comes to the product and under the hood.